Hi, beautiful lady.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for giving me. I know today is your day off and you've made a trip to the clinic just so you could do this podcast. You are one busy, busy woman. So thank you so much for giving me your time. For those of you who are listening, this is Chelsea. She is part owner at the not Kensington. That's the Calgary location. The Kelowna location in basically right downtown Kelowna in the heart of it all, right off the lake. It's a beautiful location, beautiful clinic. I mean, they're both beautiful, but the one in Kelowna is just absolutely beautiful. So congratulations on that. Now, are you in Kelowna full time now, or are you still going back and forth, Chelsea?
I'm in Kelowna full time now. Yeah, I made the jump about a year ago and things are so busy here that you just needed me here a little bit more. So I'm here and I love it here. The lifestyle's amazing. Kelowna's beautiful. I'm so glad you joined me and jumped ship. It's so much fun here. I love it.
It is. Yeah, it's great. I mean, when you say lifestyle, that's exactly what I think too. It's a little slower paced. Mountain biking, hiking, the water, obviously, it's just a beautiful lifestyle. So I agree. And it's sunny and beautiful blue sky now. An hour before it was a huge hurricane and a rainstorm. So it's nice to see the sun shining through. So Chelsea, before we get started, because I know there's so many things that I want to talk to you about, I have so many women that will appreciate this conversation. But before we get ahead and talk about that, I want you to just tell me a little bit about who you are and how you got into this industry, how long you've been doing it, just so people can kind of understand all of the stuff that you can bring to the conversation today.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Chelsea Brown. I'm a cosmetic nurse injector and part owner of the clinic here and our online store, glowantagingshop.com. I got into the industry. I started in addictions and mental health as an RN, and I loved that job, but I just started to feel like I was wanting to be more creative, have a little more control of what I was doing. And Christy Gates, who we both know in Calgary, was actually treating me and doing my Botox. And back then, this was like 4 years ago now, and there wasn't a lot of nurse injectors at that time. It was kind of newer. They'd never covered it in nursing school. And I approached her and was like, I'd be really good at this. Like, what do I got to do? And she was like, okay, there's a lot that goes into this. You have to go take a course. So I went to the U of A, got my full injectable training. And then I came back to Glow and was like, please hire me. And they were like, okay, fine. So that was 4 years ago now. And yeah, now I'm here in Kelowna and a part owner. So it's been amazing. I'm really lucky.
Awesome. Now, you also were on, you're probably going to be mad at me for saying this, but I didn't know this actually, but someone told me this just recently. You were on The Bachelorette Canada, weren't you? Or Bachelor Canada?
Yeah. It was funny because it was around the same time that I actually started at Glow. I had a year of saying yes to everything and just trying everything. And so I started at Glow and then was like, by the way, I need to take a couple months. I'm going to go on the show. And somehow Carrie was like, okay, do what you want. But it was a really good experience. So I'm really glad I did it.
Yeah, that is very cool. I will definitely have you on again to talk about that because I'm sure there's some amazing stories to say. And I should mention Carrie as well. Carrie is also an owner of Glow, both in Calgary and in Kelowna. And every single person that works there, both in the Calgary and the Kelowna location, have said nothing but incredible positive things about Carrie. And my experience with Carrie obviously is great. I used to train her a little bit, her and her daughter, but just conversations on the phone about fitness and health and my skin. And she's just been incredibly generous to me, and I know that there's so many people that absolutely love her. And so part of why I wanted to do this was to bring more awareness to sort of the whole industry, because I think it's now becoming a lot more we're feeling more comfortable about expressing and being open with what we're doing about with cosmetic surgery. And I think before, even like 5 or 6 years ago, it was a major like secret faux pas. No one wanted to be open about it. But I think it's really important, especially for women who are getting older like I am, to be open and honest about exactly what they're doing. And it also gives other people the confidence to maybe try some stuff, because I'm all for do what makes you happy. And if a little bit of Botox or filler or a boob job is going to make you happy, go for it. We should absolutely have no judgment at all about that. And I think creating an awareness about it and sharing your stories amongst other women, especially women getting to my age or approaching my age, I think it's important. And the second reason is because I wanted to make sure that I do my very best to let everyone know how incredible Glow Anti-Aging is. From the management to the owners to the employers, it is the best in my opinion. Now, I have been to several, not in Kelowna, but probably all over in Calgary. They're all great, but my best experiences, not just customer service, feeling comfortable. It's a very uneasy thing to go in and, have people sticking needles in your face and doing other things. It's just a very intimidating thing. I've always felt very welcome, very loved, very nurtured. And of course, the results have been incredible. So those are the two reasons why I wanted to showcase Glow Anti-Aging. And if for any of those women that are out there not sure about it, or aren't completely happy with what they're doing, or are just needing a change, I 100% from the bottom of my heart would recommend Glow Anti-Aging in Calgary and Kelowna. It is absolutely worth it. It's a little bit of a wait. I was just complaining to Chelsea before we came on this podcast that I called a week ago for my appointment and still have 3 more weeks to wait. But with patience, I will obviously be able to see you. So sometimes you just have to wait for the best, and it is completely worth the wait. So I was just giving her shit, maybe trying to get in there a little earlier. It probably won't work, but I'll nudge. But anyway, so those are the 2 reasons why I wanted to have you on, Chelsea. So thank you so much. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about was aging skin. My point in talking about aging skin is that there is a difference between your skin and my skin. I'm approaching 50, just turned 47, very comfortable with it. And I'm having more and more people ask me my age. In fact, I probably had 10 people over the last 2 days through Instagram ask me my age. And it doesn't offend me. I think it's funny. I think it's rude. It shouldn't matter my age, because of course we have a chronological age and a biological age, and they're completely different depending on your habits and your lifestyle. But the aging thing is definitely something that I want to talk about with you. And first of all, I wanted to ask you, what are the main differences between, say, someone in their 20s and 30s versus someone in their 40s and 50s coming to see you? Are there differences? Are there certain things that people could do, or women and men? There's a ton more men coming and doing this. I noticed that you were on a podcast talking about it with a man that had just finished an appointment with you. So just basically, what are the differences? How would you treat them? And let's just start from there, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So the main differences are basically with collagen and elastin. So as we age, we lose a certain percentage of that every year after about 25. So after that, you're kind of done, and you need something to re-stimulate that to keep up with your baseline. So that's one of the main differences. Another one is oil production. So that's why women start to feel a little more dry as they age, is that your oil glands, due to your hormones, aren't pumping out the oil that they used to. So that's another key component. And then lastly, fat. So as we age, a lot of our facial fat tends to shrink, get a little smaller. And that's where I come in with filler, is to plump those back up. So a lot of us, when we were in our 20s, had these big, beautiful cheeks. And then as we age, we start to feel things kind of shrinking, maybe falling. And that's where filler can come in and really help too. So those 3 components, I guess, collagen and elastin, fat, and oil production would be the 3 biggest things that are the differences.
Yeah, and those are the three things that I definitely have noticed over the last decade, for sure. I mean, I have absolutely no oily skin, so I cannot put enough moisture in my skin, so I definitely feel that. Although not as bad now that I'm in Kelowna, I don't know, maybe that's just my imagination.
Calgary, like, if you can have hydrated skin in Calgary, Alberta, you can have hydrated skin anywhere.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a thing, you know, when you travel to places like Vancouver or Hawaii where there's a lot of humidity, you feel and you look 10 years younger just by getting off the plane. It's crazy. So, but there are incredible products, which we will get into as well, because I want your expert opinion on what you would recommend for those sorts of things. But, for sure. Now, my question also is there a certain age that you recommend people starting Botox filler? Now, and the reason why I ask you this is because I didn't start anything until I was in my 40s. So I'm 47 now. So the last 7 years is really the only time that I started doing this. And when I was in my mid 30s, I was at a wedding with, you know, how in a wedding you sit in a group of people that you don't know. And I was sitting beside a couple, and they were quite a bit younger than me, and not that much younger than Neil. So Neil's 6 years younger than me. I know no one will believe it. I look way younger than him. But yes, he is 6 years younger than me. 15 years more mature than I am, but probably looks about my age because of his gray hair. And the amount of stress that he's dealt with over the last, 20 years of being an investment banker. So that ages you for sure. But we were having a conversation with this really young couple. I would say they're probably, so if I was like 35, 36, they were late 20s. And they were talking to me about Botox and filler in their late 20s. And I was just shocked. The husband was actually a trainer, personal trainer, and the wife was an investment banker. So it's kind of funny, roles reversed. And we got talking, and both of them were already doing everything. They looked great. They didn't look, how sometimes it's a little overdone, especially in the celebrities in the LA. I was just talking to someone yesterday about who does their injections, because it's just absolutely scary what some of these celebrities are looking like. But that's just my opinion. But they looked great. They looked just fantastic, awake, fresh. I mean, of course they look young. They were young, but they were absolutely shocked that at my age, mid 30s, that I had not even thought about Botox. And they said, well, it's preventative. And I had never even heard about Botox being preventative. And so I thought it was kind of just a silly thing and ignored them and just carried on with my life. And then in my 40s, I thought, okay, well, maybe I should go and talk to someone. And that's when I met Christy and did a consultation, and the rest is history. So is there a certain age or, time that you would start recommending this stuff? Or is it too late when you get to my age? Because I do feel that, and we'll talk about this too, when I get, because of my metabolism, I really want to talk about all this. I feel like I just go through it like so quickly. Does that have to do with the fact that I started too late or later than most people? And so my first question to you, because I'm rambling on and on and on, is would you recommend, what is the age that you would recommend, or does it really depend on each individual?
Yeah, I always tell people it's going to be different for everybody. Like you said, there's a chronological age and a biological age. So like to say that everyone needs to be in here when they're 20 years old just isn't really fair. With women, I like to tell them specifically with Botox, we have a nice kind of marker where once you start applying makeup and things are creasing, I find that's the best time. So women that's honestly their first complaint almost always, is they're like, is there something you can do about this? Because when I apply my makeup and then I start moving, things are starting to crease. And I always tell them that's a perfect time to come in. It doesn't have to be a big bill. You can do a little amount just to keep things nice and smooth for your application of your makeup. And usually I see women like 25 to 30, if they're like aware of what we can do and they're into this world, then that's kind of around the age that I see. Yeah, I guess. And for men are different. They're definitely a little bit later to the game, which is totally fine. I find either their wives bring them in, their wives will tell them when they need to come, which is awesome. Or two, they'll start to feel particularly their crow's feet. Men love to be like big and smiley, but that's where everyone looks you in the eye and kind of can tell that something's going on. So they typically come in and go like, can you do something about this? I just feel old in my eyes. And that's, and then, like I said, they're later at probably like, 35 to 40 is the earliest I would see most men. But
wow,
like you said, the earlier, the better in a sense, because it is preventative. So any motion that you see in your face while you're expressing, if you don't treat those muscles, eventually any lines that you see in motion will just be there at rest without treatment. So treating any motion that you have just prevents those from becoming either deeper or permanent as you age.
Wow, I did not know that. And is it true that metabolism plays a role? I've heard so many conflicting opinions about that topic.
Totally. There are so many factors that go into this that I think a lot of people don't understand. There's not only just like your metabolism being active, stress is huge. Stress levels, hydration, hormones. There's so many different things that can affect the metabolism of Botox. For most people, if they are struggling with one form of a neuromodulator, which is Botox, there's actually like 4 other options, which are Dysport, Xeomin, and Nuceiva. And those are basically just different. They're the same molecule. So it's the same, it's like Pepsi and Coke kind of thing, just different brands, but their protein that they're encapsulated in is a little bit different. So sometimes the body just needs a little bit of a mix. Like, how with training, you're always like keeping the body guessing to like tweak different muscles. It's the same with neuromodulators. So some patients come in and they've been struggling to get their Botox to last longer than 3 months, and we'll switch them to Dysport for a little while and then might switch them back. So that's another good option for people who are struggling with that.
Yeah, that's what Christy did. I was a couple of years ago. I was feeling a bit frustrated that I've learned over the last few years to let a lot of it go. I think it is difficult sometimes because when you are so, I'm going to be completely honest, for real, completely honest here. Have been times in my life where I've really struggled with seeing changes in my face. I would say at the more disciplined I am with my health, and I've really picked that up over the last 3 to 4 months. I've really just gone from like being healthy to really upped that even more. And I feel even younger and even more energetic, and I have more of a clarity in my mind. And I believe, honestly, it's because I've fine-tuned some of these little habits that have made a huge difference in my life, and I become more and more comfortable with, I was getting my hair done the other day, and I could, as I was talking, and you look at yourself and you're looking at your hairdresser through the mirror, like, wow, I mean, I can see every single frown and every single thing. And I think a couple of years ago, it would have bothered me more, but I'm getting a lot more comfortable in embracing it. But if there are things that I can do to, preserve what I can without changing the look of my face. Now, that was another thing I wanted to ask you. And I touched upon it talking about this whole celebrity thing. What is it that creates that you've gone too far? And how do you decide as a nurse? And because it's addictive. I have had on several occasions gone to you or Christy and said, I'd like a little bit more on my lips, or, could you do a little bit here? And both of you have said on several occasions, you're good. No, you're good. In fact, you do more, you're going to look older. So how, as an injector, do you look at someone's face? And it's hard because I'm guessing the more you put in someone's face, the more the clinic would make. So there's a fine balance between you owning a business, but also making sure that people are leaving representing your clinic or studio, I guess you'd call it as well, the best way possible. Because just like you, my clients are my walking advertisements. If they are looking strong and fit, I look good. Same thing would go for you. So how do you find that balance between, keeping your clients happy, but also making sure that they're not overdoing it? Because there is a very fine line between that. And I've really taken a step back over the last few months and reevaluated sort of what I was trying to do versus what's really, there's only so much Botox and filler can do, right? And so how do you decide as a professional in this industry to find that balance? I think it would be hard.
Yeah, I mean, when the whole reason I actually got into the industry initially was because as a younger person, I probably got my first Botox treatment at 23. Wow. And I found there was a missing component, and that was customer service. So back then, when I walked into a derm's office, it was a very older gentleman telling me exactly what he was willing or not willing to do, and that was it. And it was like, there was no conversation. There was no, he didn't understand. He didn't even ask me what look I wanted, what beauty trends I was into. There was just no concept of customer service at all. It felt very much like a healthcare appointment. And I was like, this is odd to me. Like, this part has to change. And that's when I was so excited to find Glow, because they were very much on board with that there has to be this fine balance of the two, of being safe and being ethical, and also providing someone with a service that they want and that they feel control of, and that it's a bit of a, that we have a mutual goal together, and that's what's going to make our customers the most happy. So it's interesting because a lot of people that I find that do go overboard, they will find a yes somewhere. So it's not necessarily that I've even ever treated them, or they've come into the door and I've said no, and they come in again and I say no again, but they've had more filler somewhere. So people like that, unfortunately, despite all of our efforts, they will find a yes somewhere. Someone is willing to do it. It's not going to be us, but someone's going to be willing to do it. And that money to me is never worth it. That doesn't give me any satisfaction. There are plenty of other ways that we can make money than having people in an unsafe situation. One, like too much filler in a certain area can literally impede blood flow to the face and cause some pretty serious side effects. So that's always an easy out for me, is when I literally look at someone and I'm like, look, safety and ethically, I just can't perform this for you. I wouldn't feel good about it. I wouldn't sleep at night. They're usually understanding. And I always try to remind people, like, even as you were saying, Tish, like looking in the mirror, we never, I don't think ever really see a true representation of ourselves. Like, we never know what other people really see. Our mirror is just, a reflection of whatever we have going on in our head at the moment. And even like watching this now on the screen, it's like, that version of me I haven't even freaking seen before.
I'm just sitting here staring at you going, you're so pretty. You're perfect.
With you too. So it's like, and I think a lot of people also struggle with even taking aging advice from someone like me, which has been interesting. Like, I'm 30 years old. And even though I studied the aging process for like 4 years, it's been like my whole life is just understanding how aging affects women. It can come off as offensive when I'm telling them what they should or shouldn't do, because they kind of look at me and are just like, you haven't been there. And I totally get that. But none of us are escaping it. And that's what I always try to remind them, is like, this is coming down the path for me too. I'm not there yet, but look at all the wisdom and all the breakups and all the stuff you've gone through. Like, girl, I'd rather be there at this point, honestly. Like, so it's none of us are ever escaping this process. So it's just making it a little bit easier, making it so that you're a little more in control of what that looks like for you and when you want to stop. And like, when you feel like there's things you can live with and when things you can't, or, that's what we're here for, is just to make it so that you can move on with your life and just think about other things. That's what.
Yes. I love that. It's so true. I spoke about this in another podcast, is I think women in general are more comfortable with aging when they're taking care of themselves. That it's the women that they know are not doing what they should be, that are really struggling with the fact that they are creeping into their 40s and 50s. And the Botox filler cosmetic surgery world, I think, really is just another way for us to feel better about ourselves in a positive manner. And I think that it's just so important. And then that's what I talked to you about. I said to you when I moved here, when we just started getting to know each other, I remember saying, are you comfortable? Because I see all of your posts and they're all of these beautiful young girls that are literally like they look exactly like you. They're perfect. They're beautiful. Everything about them is incredible. And there's some incredibly beautiful people in this world. And you get to showcase them and make them even more comfortable in their skin, which is such a powerful thing, and such a lucky, like, you're so lucky to have that opportunity, because you do leave that clinic always. I do, speaking from experience, leaving that clinic after seeing you feeling just better, more excited. And just the support and nurturing that you provide to the ladies and the gentlemen that come and see you is just so much appreciated. But my whole point in this, there was a point, is that I feel like, I remember what I was going to say. When I asked you, I said, do you do women, like, do you inject women in at my age? Because I just don't see
Yes.
you posting women my age. And it wasn't that I wasn't comfortable with you in putting Botox and filler in my face, because Christy's younger as well. It's not that. I just saw there was just so much youthfulness on your page. And I'm different, I have very, no temples. I'm different. My skin's different than yeah. And we are working on it, and it's amazing what a little bit of filler in the temples does, to be completely honest with you. But and you said to me, Tish, I treat so many women in their 40s and 50s. They're just not comfortable with sharing that they're doing this. And I was shocked by that, because this is the time when we should be doing it. We have more money, usually, hopefully. And we should have more confidence in our 40s and 50s to say, yeah, I'm not happy with this, and I don't like how my temples are looking like a peanut, and I'm okay to share that. So I found that very interesting, and that is why I think it's just so, I don't have a huge platform, but I have a big enough platform to share my experiences with it. And I do wish that I started younger. I really do. I think that it would have helped me, just because I do really struggle with going through it, and how, my peanut face and all of that stuff. I do wish and think that if I had started earlier, it may have helped. I don't know. But I think it's really important that we stop judging people for wanting to just feel better about themselves, right? My question to you is, I've never experienced acne. But I know there's a lot of women that struggle with acne, not just young women, but women in their 40s. And I think actually I saw a post when you posted up before and after of your skin and how much it has transformed. In fact, I have a friend who's coming to see you, I think, this week. And so we were looking at your Instagram page, and I said, look at this transformation. And we were shocked. So would you say that is products or what changed you, and what causes acne, first of all? And how were you able to go from a face that obviously was struggling to such flawless looking skin now? Is that a product thing, or what is your secret?
It was a combination of a lot of things. Definitely skincare. That post that I had was kind of when I first started at Glow. how they hired me looking like that. I don't know. They did. And then they got me on all of the products. So products for sure, treatments, and then hormones. So I also was seeing Kathy Tissington at the time, our NP, and my sister. She's a naturopathic doctor. And we kind of looked at my skin and decided that my IUD needed to come out, that the hormones that were in there weren't working for my body anymore, and that I needed to go back onto a birth control pill. And everyone thinks it's always like estrogen has such a bad rap, and it actually wasn't the estrogen. I needed more estrogen. It was the progestin that my body didn't like. So we switched to that, and then basically good medical grade skincare. It's so different than anything else that you can get on the market because it's treated like a medication. So the percentages of active ingredients are so high that they have to have a physician in the building even to carry it, because we want to watch for things like side effects, make sure they're given to the right person and their skin. So working here really opened my eyes to all of that. And the biggest ingredient wise, I would say, would be things like salicylic acid, because they kill the bacteria and kill anything kind of deep in your pore, and retinol. So retinol basically increases the cell turnover of your skin, pushes new cells to the surface, which is also exactly what Accutane does. So retinol is essentially a topical form of Accutane, but it's a lot easier on your body and on your mind. So.
Right. Yeah. I tried I know that I have to start taking retinol again. I just hate what it does to my skin initially. Right? Like
Initially.
Yes. And so maybe you can touch upon that. I know that your face feels dry and red, but that's the collagen. You know, when your face is going through a healing process, which I believe you can explain this more. I just think you need to be patient with it. So what exactly is retinol, and why do we as women, why do you as a professional in this industry really push it? And everyone pushes it. And I've tried, and then I stop taking it, and I try again, because it's always something that you're always encouraging. So what is it, and how much longer do I need to take it to actually see that it's doing what it's supposed to? Those sorts of things. Yeah. Retinol's a big thing, isn't it?
It is huge. Yeah. Retinol, because it's great for everything. It honestly is, for aging, for acne, all of the above, because you're basically forcing your body to create brand new baby skin cells that are brand new and fresh, and getting rid of all the old stuff. So in that process, yes, you can come with a little bit of redness, a little irritation. Some people, especially acne patients, will experience a purge, which basically means they see an increase in breakouts, which is really frustrating for them. But it's basically like taking all of the breakouts that would have happened over a period of about 6 months and just pushing them out all at once. So these things were coming anyway. They were trapped deeper and deeper and deeper, and we're just shoving them all out at once so that we can get those brand new skin cells to the surface. So I always recommend starting retinol is, you have to be super careful that our goal is always to get you to a percentage that you can use every night, but that's not what you're going to do at first ever. So I have one here. I'll show you. So this is the Vivier 0.3 retinol complex, which right there. So what's cool about this one is it's micro encapsulated, which is super important. So a micro encapsulated retinol is the best type for someone like you, Tish, who experiences that like redness and irritation, because it goes deeper into the skin before it starts to work. So it'll, instead of getting that big hit of retinol that someone might have experienced from even like a prescription retinol from their doctor, this is encapsulated differently. So it'll go deeper, start to work, and then you won't get that big hit of irritation on the skin. Oh. And then you can also mix this with moisturizer to break it down a little bit. I find that super helpful. And having hydration in your skin, some type of hyaluronic acid, a good moisturizer, growth factors, there's all kinds of things that can just prevent that redness and irritation.
But it is something that's important, and I do know that. Is it better to probably do that in the winter when you're not around the sun as often, or does it matter? Or should you just really be doing retinol all year round?
Retinol is something you can do all year round. It's when you start doesn't matter so much as long as you're consistently wearing SPF. If you're going to start a retinol, you just have to have a good physical block sunscreen because it does make you more photosensitive. But as far as when you're starting, you should also be wearing SPF in the winter too, which a lot of people don't, but you should. You should be wearing it every single day. So if you're doing that, it doesn't matter when you start. You just might experience, we're all a little drier in the winter. So if you're really worried about that, you might want to start in the summer. But it is something that you should be using consistently each night. And even if that means at a smaller percentage, like everyone thinks they need to go to this 1% huge amount of retinol, and it's just not necessary for most people. If you're seeing good results and you're only at a 0.3 or a 0.5 and you're happy and you're tolerating it every single night, then just leave it. If it's doing its thing and it's doing its job, that's fine. Not everyone needs the 1%.
Okay. I'm sold. I'm coming there in a few weeks. When I come, I will purchase and I will share my experiences with the retinol because and I will stick with it this time, I promise. So talking about products, there are so many products. I know that pharmaceutical grade, there's a couple that you carry at Glow, and I actually see them at other clinics as well that they seem like they're the best ones that you're consistently seeing from some of the higher end clinics. Now, I would love if you could tell me what the best skincare would be, sort of like a morning routine and an evening routine. If you have any products that you could show us, this is going to be on YouTube as well. Just how people would get started because I know there's like the eye creams, and I know I cannot fly on an airplane, even if I'm going for one night with a carry-on because of my products. I'm the product crazy woman. But that, that's what I invest in that stuff. It's what I want to invest my money in. And so doesn't matter if I'm going for a day. Neil's always like, really, a suitcase? We're going for one night, but my products are in the suitcase. So I love my products, but I would love to have an expert just give us sort of a rundown of what their favorites are, what you would recommend for people for all women, but maybe for sure, maybe even more specifically women who are maybe, approaching 40s and 50s and maybe want to watch. We all are against that anti-aging word right now. I'm seeing that a lot on social media. I'm like, we're all aging. Let's fight it, which combined is called anti-aging. I'm not against that term, so I'm going to just use it. Give me your best kind of products that you would suggest for several different things, why you would suggest them, daytime, nighttime. If you have them sitting around, I would love to see what they look like.
Yes, I got you. Okay. So the way I'm going to organize this is basically start to finish, the way you would apply them, kind of AM and PM. So
okay, perfect.
The first one is our Vizio Skin Health. I just love their cleansers. We have so many good cleansers. The one that I use myself is the exfoliating cleanser because it has that salicylic acid in it to help with my acne. So anyone who's older would want to go with the hydrating cleanser.
I have the hydrating one.
Yeah, so good. Yeah. So these are just amazing. You never really feel like you've cleansed your face until you've actually used like a good cleanser. It literally feels like the first time you've ever cleansed. Secondly is, everyone loves this. It's like a cult fave at Glow, is the exfoliating polish. So this has little magnesium. Good girl. It has little magnesium beads, tea tree oil. It just kind of is a good physical exfoliant. So it helps with when you're actually experiencing dry skin, you feel like moisture. You just want to moisturize your skin. But the moisture doesn't get through if there's a bunch of dead, dry flakes on the surface of your skin. So we always say this is kind of like raking the leaves and then putting the sprinklers on. So putting that stuff is what this would do. So
I love that stuff. It's amazing. And a little bit goes so far. And the smell is so refreshing. It just perks you up. I love that stuff. Such a good investment.
Yes. Okay, so second would be a toner. Toning is really important. A lot of people skip that step, but it is important because it regulates the pH balance of your skin and kind of preps the skin for all of the other expensive ingredients that you're going to put on there. So this one that I use is the Complexion Renewal Pads by Vizio. So same thing, it has a little bit of salicylic acid, lactic acid. This helps mainly with like pore size, pore appearance, oil control. Most women can handle this because it's not super strong. But if you are someone, especially like Tish, who's like super, super dry, you could use more of like a hydrating toner by Vizio as well. So those are other good options.
I use the Vizio one, which I love. Yeah. I've used it. I've had 3 of those now.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So secondly, so this one's just daytime, would be a good vitamin C. So vitamin C is amazing for anti-aging. It basically prevents your skin from free radicals in the air. So everything from wildfire smoke that we experienced in the summer to pollutants that are always in the air, all of that stuff over time ages our skin. And this creates a little bit of a barrier and a brightening effect. So it comes in a little dropper. You just use like 3 to 6 drops a day, and it just prevents all of those things from aging your skin.
And sorry, did you say just daytime for vitamin C?
I like to do just daytime because we're going to use other things at night.
Okay.
And those are kind of more powerhouse ingredients that you don't want to be irritated by adding more other stuff, basically.
Okay, good. Good to know.
So then after vitamin C, I like to have some hydration. So I know that you love this, Tish. We both are obsessed with this. This is Ultimage by Vivier. What's cool about this is it's a hyaluronic acid gel. It feels very lightweight, but it's super moisturizing. It also has neuropeptides in it, which are basically derivatives of Botox that are applied topically to the skin. So nothing that you apply topically is ever going to work like true Botox. But it does help to slow the muscle contractions in your face. And then the hyaluronic acid plumps those fine lines. So you'll find a really good anti-aging effect just from fine lines and wrinkles by that Ultimage product. It's amazing.
It's amazing. It is.
So good. Lastly, for daytime, what I like to use as a daytime moisturizer for most women is the Daily Power Defense. So this guy, same thing, is loaded with antioxidants, super hydrating. It's just going to protect you. Just overall amazing anti-aging in this guy. And most women are obsessed with this. It smells so good. Feels so good.
It does.
It's awesome.
Yeah, but doesn't have sunscreen in it.
No, so that's, yeah, exactly. So that's the last step here for daytime is a good physical block sunscreen. So the difference between a chemical and a physical block is basically that zinc and titanium, the rays will hit that and literally ricochet off. Like they do not penetrate your skin because there's almost like a little metal shield all over your face. Wow. Whereas chemicals don't quite do the same thing. So a lot of our stuff at Glow is a physical block. So this one is my favorite right now. It's our Ulta MD UV Clear Tinted. It's an SPF 46 and it has zinc in it. So zinc is what's going to basically bounce those suckers right off your face. So it keeps you super, super protected from the rays. It's tinted and it's beautiful and it feels so good. Yeah, it's amazing.
So that reminds, I bought one. I bought the, it's in a pump. I think it must be from Zoe and it's tinted as well, but that one looks a little bit thinner, like not as thick as the Zoe one. But I really am impressed with how you first put it on your face and it makes your face look a little bit white and you're like, oh, what is that? And then you let it sit and literally all the time. Yeah. It is that what it's actually doing? Cause I thought it was just my imagination.
No. So specifically with the Vizio, it's more of a primer feel. It's literally called like the makeup primer sunscreen basically. So it's a little bit more of that silicone-y type of feel. And when you first put it on, I totally agree. Or when you even look at it, you're like, there's no way this is going to blend. Mm-hmm. And then when you do, like basically just the heat from your face and everything just starts to melt it down. And it blends beautifully with most people. Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
I love that for makeup days. This one is nice for the summer when you don't want to wear makeup at all. Because I find it's a lot more lightweight. It's it just feels like a lotion, which is kind of nice in the summer when you feel like you're going to be sweaty or out on a boat or
Totally. Yeah.
Okay. So nighttime, let's talk about nighttime. Nighttime's where all the good stuff comes in. So nighttime, very similar as far as your cleanser, your toner, hyaluronic acid. Where it gets a little different is towards the end of the routine. So I like to use so we would do our Ultimage after all of the other steps.
I do Ultimage both morning and evening too.
It's so worth it. It's so good.
I agree.
Then what I like to have people do is a retinol. So like we talked about doing the retinol that's micro-encapsulated would be a really good option for anyone who's brand new to retinol. And specifically, if you get this one from us or glowantiagingshop.com, it'll come with a retinol card always that gives you very, very clear instructions on how to use it, how to incorporate it into your routine, because you don't just start it and use it every single night. You're going to start with maybe once a week and then start to add a night every week until you can kind of tolerate it every night, which is a key component that a lot of people don't do.
Right.
Then after that, what I like people to use as a little bit of a barrier is growth factor. This is another like cult fave. We sell 1 million in one of these things. It is basically a nighttime moisturizing type of feel that basically tells your DNA in your skin to go back to what it was when you were like 7 pounds, 7 ounces, sweet baby child. So it sells like hotcakes. It's amazing. It feels so good. Growth factors are just a super important anti-aging ingredient. So anyone that is concerned about anti-aging, growth factors are huge. So definitely look into those.
It's funny you talk about growth factor. I have growth factor because when I did the vampire facial, you put it on my skin. The vampire facial basically leaves your skin quite raw. And you put the Celine did my vampire facial and she put the growth factor on my face after, and it immediately went from feeling so incredibly hostile on my face to completely calm. It's the best way to describe it. My skin just calmed right down. I thought my face was going to, it felt like it was on fire. Growth factor, calm. I felt nothing. And a lot of the redness went away instantly. And so they gave me a little sample to use for a few days because it is expensive. And they just like, just try it, see if you like it. And then if you like it, come and buy some. Well, within day 3, I was coming in and buying it. You were sold out actually. So I had to wait, of course, a week, but it is something that is in my cupboard. I treat myself to it. I don't put it on my face every night. I try to do a couple nights a week, just because it is pretty pricey, but again, I always believe you get what you pay for in everything. And so and the other thing I love about it is like it gives you like you just push the top and the product comes out of the little hole. So you basically take your finger and there's absolutely no product that gets wasted. But yeah, that is one of my favorites too. It's a specialty lotion. I love that.
Totally, yeah.
It's when you ask for Santa. You ask for Santa for that one. Exactly, for your stocking stuffer.
That's what's nice about most medical grade products actually is that the scientists and the teams that have made all of these products have basically decided exactly what you need to use is what's going to come out of either one pump or a push, or if there's anything different, it'll say it right on the bottle. So there's no guesswork with this, which is really nice. Like
100%.
Every time you use any of these, it's exactly the amount that you need.
Good point.
So lastly, I want to talk to you about an eye cream and a neck cream, because I feel like with anti-aging, that's like it's so important. So one of our best selling eye creams is the TNS Eye Repair, and you can use this morning and night. This guy's by Skin Medica. We love it because there's basically a very, very gentle whisper of retinol that's safe around the eyes to increase that cell turnover without irritating your skin. And then there's brightening ingredients like vitamin C. So anyone who really struggles with, dark circles, darkness under their eyes, this will literally change your life. It's insane, the difference in a couple of months. There's some before and afters on my Instagram that you guys can look at too. But really great product. Then our new line, which we're obsessed with, and I'm probably going to get you hooked on it too, Tish. You just haven't seen me since, but is Elastin. So this new line of ours is absolutely incredible. It was basically founded by the same guy who made Skin Medica and all the formulations for them. And he met up with a wound healing doctor that was trained in UCLA and was treating a lot of burn victims and creating a lot of inventions for wound healing. And they came together and kind of brainstormed how they could make a skincare line that would increase collagen and elastin. What's different, all of these products do that. Most of them, their goal is to increase collagen and elastin on some level. And what's different about this guy is that if you look at the skin, there's these little collagen and elastin trees that are trying to basically grow and attach and then plump the skin. But as we age, there's a couple that get there and they might attach and then they die. And there's a bunch of kind of like broken little guys that are kind of crowding the space so that new ones can't attach. So what's different about elastin is that it actually gets rid of all of the dead debris first so that new collagen and elastin can grow and actually attach and start to plump your skin. So we see a huge difference with this one. And their neck product is one of our favorites. It's called Trihex technology, is the technology that they use. And you can use the same thing morning and night. It comes in the prettiest bottle. And yeah, if you don't start working on your neck before it bugs you, I find like it's one of those areas that it will come for everybody and it happens quite rapidly all of a sudden. You're so cute. We can both just like...
Exactly. Yeah. For those of you who are just listening, I just took my hair and hid my neck. I'm kidding. I'm fine with my neck, but I'm definitely going to buy some of that stuff.
It's so good. It's so good. Me and Carrie have both been using it, and we text each other every day. We're like, where other parts of our body can we put this stuff? Like,
that's awesome. Wow, that is amazing. It's funny. I have all the products, and sometimes I forget the order and the ones that are supposed to go in the morning and so this has been good. Thank you. I will make sure that I do, because order is very important, right? Like you want to go thinner ingredients to more of a thicker ingredient. That the order is important, isn't it?
Absolutely. So yeah,
yes.
Like you said, Tish, thinnest to thickest feeling is a good kind of general rule, because if you put something on that's really thick, something that's thin and a smaller molecular kind of shape isn't going to be able to penetrate through that. So the thinnest to thickest is always a good general rule. That way all your products are penetrating and getting the most out of them.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I want to take the last few minutes to talk about treatments. I have had the vampire treatment. Love it. It's not as bad as it looks. It looks scarier than it really, people, when I did it, I actually did a video of it and put it on my website. If any of you are interested, you can go on my blog on my website and actually see what the procedure is and what happened. But I've had that one done. I've had a couple of things that I don't even know what I'm talking about. And now we're leading into November, and I have been given very strict guidelines from you and from, I forget, what is the lovely new nurse, Emily. Emily is the girl that's been doing my treatments in Cologne. I love her. And so very strict from both of you, saying you're not allowed to do some of these treatments until November when the sun is not as strong. And so I'm really getting excited about some of the new things that I'm going to start implementing in November. And I know there's going to be some downtime. So just quickly, what are your top faves? What do they do? And then I can make some notes.
Yeah. Add to the wish list. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So the first one, the one that you were just discussing about sun damage and pigmentation, that's exactly why this place is so hopping right now, is that during the summer, we have to take a little bit of a hiatus from most of those lasers because we can't treat pigmentation while you're tanned. So a lot of us now are out of the sun. We're not in the sun as much. And BBL season is kind of starting. So BBL stands for broadband laser light. And it basically sees melanin in the skin, or if, say, you're dealing with rosacea, it'll see the hemoglobin in the skin that provides those different colors, reds or browns, to the skin. and literally zaps them away. It's like a magic eraser. It's one of our favorite treatments. If you're looking for just one color skin tone, that's the treatment that you need.
Okay.
And then otherwise, tightening I want to talk about too. I feel like a lot of the people that follow you would really enjoy Infini. So Infini is RF microneedling. Microneedling is great for anyone from like 20 to 35. It does enough for texture and it's nice and little downtime. Anyone over about the age of 35 needs to kind of amp it up with either like RF on its own or RF microneedling. So the difference basically is that with Infini, we can go deeper into the skin. And once we're in the skin at a deep level, we also shoot these radio frequency waves through the skin that stimulate collagen and elastin on 3 different levels. So it's like microneedling on steroids. So nothing will tighten your skin. Anyone dealing with crepiness, feeling like they're just not tight like they used to be, Infini is definitely the treatment for them. Comes with probably 48 hours of feeling red. And there's no pain once your treatment's over. You're completely fine. You just need to be makeup free for about 24 hours and then you're good to go. So I love that treatment. It's one of my favorites.
And I mean, I assume that basically these are just general treatments. When someone comes in to see you, I would assume there would be some kind of form of a consultation, sit down, you talk about sort of what the patient's concerns are, and then you from there would obviously decide what their best treatments would be. It's kind of hard to make specific suggestions on a podcast like this. Is that how you typically do it, is usually do some sort of consultation beforehand?
Yeah, absolutely. Before you go ahead and book any type of treatment, you definitely need to come in and get a skin consult done. Reason being is that we need to see what skin type you are. There are certain treatments that aren't safe for certain skin types and can leave you with things like hyperpigmentation. So we don't want to be doing that to anybody or letting them down that they can't get the treatment that they booked. So it's funny, I'm actually in our consult room right now.
It's so beautiful in there. Yeah, it's so bright and clean.
Yes. So that's our Vizio machine.
What is that machine? What is that machine?
Yeah. This one is our Vizio skin analysis, which is amazing.
Okay. Oh.
We basically put your face in there and we take pictures of your skin, and it'll give us a lot of information that we can't see to the naked eye. So things like underlying melasma, which is a skin condition that would change our treatment plan for you. Things like oil production, bacteria on the surface of the skin that we can't see to the naked eye. And it gives us this readout and kind of tells us the path of your skin, where it's going, what kind of chronological age it's sitting at, and how we can basically improve your skin. So those are always free with all of our skin consults. So anyone that comes gets one, and it just gets us a really clear picture of how we can best serve you in your skin. So it's awesome.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. Oh, okay. That's amazing. And what is that machine called?
It's called a Vizio skin analysis.
Okay. Awesome. Wow. That kind of makes your job a little bit easier as well. If you can really see what's going on at what is it, at a more cellular level? Is that what happens, or?
Yeah. It basically takes photos with a whole bunch of different lights and different levels of the skin. And it's cool because we can also use it to track your progress. So sometimes people feel like they might not be, seeing results right away. We stick them under the Vizio and we can literally look at the difference on a cellular level of their skin, how much younger they are, how much pigmentation that's underneath that's disappeared, bacteria, oil, all that stuff. So it's really fun to have and then to look back on when you've come so far to see like how your skin's actually changed. It's amazing.
Yeah, that is huge. People like to see that what they're investing in is actually getting them results. It's just like training. If you don't input your progress, how do you know how much stronger, how much you're improving, right? So it's the same thing with your skin, which is kind of nice. Makes your job a little bit easier too, because people forget where they started, right? Anywhere in skin and in fitness, they forget their start point. So to have comparisons is pretty cool, to be able to do that on your skin too. Amazing. Thank you so much, Chelsea. Now, Chelsea, you are on, let me know all of your social media feeds. You are so fun to follow. She has all of the up-to-date, newest and greatest products. She shares a lot of awesome things on her site. So, Chelsea, what are your Instagram? It'll also be underneath the podcast, so they'll be able to click on them all. And then also the Glow Anti-Aging Shopping Center will put also under there. I know that was I spoke to Carrie during the lockdowns, and she could not keep up with the the shopping that was happening online and it was great. I was so happy to hear that at least that part of the business was doing well. So what are those links? What is your profile, just so people can hear them, but also click underneath to have that accessible for them?
On Instagram, you can find me at Ask for the Lip Girl, all one word. And then we also have Glow Anti-Aging on Instagram, all one word, and Glow Anti-Aging Youth Lab as well. And then our shop is glowantiagingshop.com. And if you're lucky enough, we'll probably have a code for you for Tish that you guys can use on this. So
awesome.
Keep your eyes peeled. Yes.
I was hoping you'd say something like that. Okay, well, Chelsea, I honestly could sit here and talk to you for another hour at least. Someday I'll be like Joe Rogan and I'll be doing 3-hour podcasts. But until then, let's stick this to an hour. I know that you would probably like to enjoy the rest of your day off. And so we'll stay in touch. I'll see you in a few weeks. Thank you so much for some of your suggestions. And everyone, make sure you check out the links underneath this podcast to get in touch with Chelsea, to find out all the products that you may want to try out, all the treatments you want to try out. And if you have any questions, Glow Anti-Aging is the place to go. I have been to many, and they are by far superior. And that is not an opinion. That is just something that I'm very comfortable sharing. So Chelsea, thank you so much. Is there anything else that I haven't missed that you'd like to share quickly?
No, you did amazing. We'll have to do this again sometime. I know I could talk
Absolutely.
to you for,
I know. Yes, we will. Yeah. And a lot of women have so many questions for me, so I'll make sure that I write them down. And so when we have you on again, we will make sure that those questions are answered. Until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to my podcast, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, Tish.